In a lively market where people wore colorful clothes and sold all sorts of things, there was one special store that everyone talked about: Oche's hair store. Oche was a charming man who always smiled, and his wigs were the talk of the town. The young girls and women in that town were enchanted by Oche's wigs. They would fight and argue just to buy one. "I need to look my best, but I can't do that without wearing one of Oche's wigs," some of them would say to themselves. The competition to buy hair from Oche grew fierce. Women saved all their money and even borrowed just to afford one. "This hair will make me feel like a queen," they would say. The market was always buzzing with excitement around Oche's hair store. They would fight and argue just to be able to afford one of Oche's wigs, and this made Oche very, very excited. But do you know the intriguing thing about Oche's wigs? The wigs were cursed. People didn't know the wigs were cursed. They just saw how beautiful they were and rushed to buy them. Any woman who bought a wig from Oche's store always experienced something negative in her life, but they never understood where the problems were coming from, and they never suspected that Oche's wigs were the cause. One day, a young woman named Grace, who had recently gotten married, was so excited because she had just discovered she was pregnant. On breaking the news to her husband, he asked, "My dear wife, in celebration of our unborn child, what do you want me to buy for you?" Grace responded, "My husband, I want a wig from Oche's store. I've been dreaming of wearing one of Oche's wigs, and I wouldn't mind if you bought me one." Her husband gave Grace the money to buy the wig as a way to celebrate their child on the way. The next day, Grace visited Oche at his store. "Oche, I want to buy this wig. I've been dreaming of owning one of your wigs. You are the talk of the town. Which woman wouldn't want to buy a wig from you? Please, how much is it? My husband already gave me the money, and I want to buy it now." Oche smiled and said, "No problem." He gave the wig to Grace. When Grace got home, she was so excited about finally purchasing a wig from Oche's store. At last, when other women talked about Oche's wigs, she too would be able to join in the conversation. But immediately after Grace wore the wig on her head, just a few hours later, she had a miscarriage. She lost the pregnancy. They didn't know where the problem was coming from and never suspected that it was the wig Grace had bought from Oche's store that caused the miscarriage. The next time Grace became pregnant, whenever she put on that wig, she would suffer another miscarriage. Grace still did not know what was going on. This continued to happen in her marriage. Every time she wore that wig, some new problems always arose. Another beautiful young lady named Ada had recently gotten engaged to the love of her life. She was so excited and decided to celebrate her engagement and the upcoming wedding by buying a wig from Oche's store. "I need to buy a wig from Oche's store because I must wear Oche's wig for my wedding," she said to herself. "I have already told my hairstylist that I'm coming with one of Oche's wigs and I must wear it." Ada visited Oche's store and purchased a wig with the intention of using it for her wedding day. On the very day of Ada's wedding, as soon as she wore the wig she had bought from Oche, her husband-to-be, which is the groom, cancelled the wedding. He turned everything upside down and said he was no longer interested in marrying her. Everyone was confused, including Ada. She wondered what her offense was. How can my groom suddenly decide not to marry me? What have I done? Ada did not know that it was the wig she bought from Oche's store and wore on her head that caused all the chaos on her wedding day. And that was how Ada's wedding got cancelled. While the women who wore the wigs they bought from Oche's store experienced strange things in their life, they never suspected for a moment that the wigs were the source of their problems. A singer named Victoria, known for her beautiful and melodious voice, lost her voice immediately after she wore the wig. Joy, a talented dancer, mysteriously hurt her leg. Their fortunes seemed to vanish, and they could not understand why. Soon, the market was filled with whispers and worries. In that same market lived a wise and observant girl named Favour. Her mother owned a grocery store there. Favour began to notice changes in the women who had bought wigs from Oche's store. They saw how the women who wore the wigs seemed to lose their talent and their luck in the market. One day, she said to her mother, "Mama, have you seen what's happening to the women with Oche's wigs? Imagine Auntie, the one who sells perfume down the road. She's been complaining about bad luck in her business, and I noticed it all started after she bought a wig from Oche's store." Favour continued, "What about Auntie Mercy? Her business started falling apart, and her husband even chased her out of the house. And it was right after she bought that wig from Oche. I don't think Oche's business is pure, Mama." Her mother nodded and replied, "My daughter, I think you are right, but we must be very careful because even I know something is not right with that Oche." Determined to investigate, Favour decided to speak with the women affected in the market. Some of them said, "My business used to flourish, but ever since I started wearing this wig, it's no longer doing well." Another woman said, "I used to be a good singer, but now I can't sing." A dancer lamented, "I used to be the best dancer, but now I can't even walk properly." Coincidentally, Grace came to the market to buy food. Upon hearing Favour and the others talking, she added, "Ah, no wonder. Every time I put on that wig, I have a miscarriage." Favour listened carefully to the women as they lamented, piecing together the puzzle. My dear viewers, I'm sure you're also wondering how Oche started selling these cursed wigs. Well, Oche wasn't always a wig seller. He used to be a humble trader, selling ordinary groceries. One day, he met an old mysterious man named Babazola, who promised him great wealth if he followed his advice. Babazola taught Oche how to make wigs using dark magic. The wigs would look beautifully but would bring bad luck to those who wore them, while Oche's business and wealth would boom. Blinded by greed, Oche agreed to the plan. He crafted his first cursed wig and sold it to a rich woman. Soon after, the woman fell ill, but Oche's business thrived. People didn't know the wigs were cursed. They only saw how beautiful they were. And now, you know how Oche started his evil hair business. Let's go back to how Favour was able to bring Oche down. Keep watching this video. Favour knew she had to act, but she needed a plan. She gathered her friends and shared her findings. "We must catch Oche. In fact, we need to show everyone the truth," Favour said. Her friends agreed to help, determined to stop the evil. One night, Favour and her friends followed Oche to his secret workshop. They hid behind the bushes and watched as he chanted strange words, causing the wigs to glow with light. Favour's heart raced. They had the proof they needed. The next morning, Favour and her friends confronted Oche in the market. "Oche, your wigs are cursed. You use dark powers to harm our people," Favour shouted. A crowd quickly gathered, murmuring in shock. Oche tried to deny the accusations. "These are lies. My wigs are simply beautiful, nothing more," he claimed. But Favour and her friends were prepared. They showed everyone a cursed wig that had been taken from his workshop. The market fell silent as people stared at Oche in disbelief. "Is this true?" someone shouted. Oche's face turned red with anger, but he couldn't hide the truth. The people were furious and demanded answers. Just when everyone thought Oche would be caught, he tried to run away, but Favour had a clever idea. She grabbed one of his wigs and threw it at him. The wig glowed and wrapped around Oche, making him to stumble and fall. The people gasped as they witnessed the wig's dark power backfire on Oche. Favour stood tall, showing no fear. "We must stop him from hurting anyone else," she declared. The people cheered and praised Favour for her bravery. They decided to take Oche to the village elders for judgment. Under pressure from the crowd, Oche confessed his misdeeds. He told them about Babazola and the dark magic he had used. The villagers were horrified and saddened by his greed. The village elders listened to Oche's confession and decided that he must undo the magic he had cast and leave the town forever. Oche begged for mercy, but the elders were firm. Under the watchful eyes of the villagers, Oche performed a ritual to remove the curses from the wigs. The glowing wigs returned to normal, and the people felt a sense of relief. With Oche gone, peace returned to the town. The villagers thanked Favour for her courage and wisdom. The market once again became a place of joy and prosperity. Favour became a hero, and everyone learned the importance of honesty and kindness. Grace became pregnant again and gave birth to as many children as she wanted. And every other woman who had suffered misfortune because of Oche's wigs saw their lives restored. And that was how the story of Oche, the evil wig seller, came to an end. The moral of this story is simple. Not all that glitters is gold. Stop following trends blindly, because not everything that trends is good. Don't feel pressure to belong, because you never know the evil that may be lurking behind. Thank you for watching my story. I hope you learned something and I hope you were entertained. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, kindly click on the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that when I post more interesting stories, you'll be the first to see them. See you in my next video. Bye bye.